I hope I don't have trouble with this YouTube. I hope we don't have trouble with this YouTube. How do I? I hope we don't have trouble with this YouTube. How do I? Okay. Okay, I figured it out. All right. Looks like we have a light show going on our Zoom broadcast. First time I've seen all these lights like they are. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and begin with reciting the Namo Tassa and the three refuges for those who would like to do that. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddhang Saranang Gacchami. Dhammang Saranang Gacchami. Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. Dutiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami. Dutiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami. Dutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranam Gacchami. Tatiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. Good evening, friends, to this Wednesday evening Dhamma discussion and meditation practice. So I hope you're all able to you receive the mailing I sent out on Monday with the kind of the subject of tonight's discussion. Kind of a cryptic, verse from the Dhammapada. And it's a very profound subject, but I only listed part of it on the mailing, which was the mindful do not die, the unmindful are as if dead already. Now, those are the last two lines of the full verse, so I'm going to recite the full verse. Or maybe I did put the whole thing on the mailing. Anyway, the that mindfulness is the path to the deathless, unmindfulness is the path to death, the mindful do not die, and the unmindful are as if dead already. Now, this can be explained on different levels. On the sort of the ultimate level that the Buddha was implying, was that the practice of mindfulness, if practiced to the fullest extent and brought to perfection, which would include developing the 7 factors of enlightenment, would result in the attainment of the deathless state, or the full liberation into Nibbana, which is called the deathless state. One of the synonyms for Nibbana is Amata Dhamma. That means the deathless state, the state that was never born and never dies, which basically is a state of the pure awareness, uncontaminated by ignorance, greed, and hatred, and the ego-centered delusions. And the unmindful are as if dead already, or unmindfulness is the path to death, because when we're unmindful, we go on accumulating more and more karma, which is going to prolong the cycle of birth and death. So as long as you have unspent karma in the mind, or have not attained, full enlightenment, then those karmic conditions that have been accumulated in this lifetime and even brought from previous lifetimes, they continue to give their effects. And one would be another life in another existence. That means you would die. Now, the mindful do not die, because when you attain enlightenment, they don't say you died, they say you attain parinibbana, which is a very special state. Anyway, it's a technical term that might be hard to understand. But so basically that's the meaning of it. The mindful do not die, and the unmindful are as if dead already. But even living in this life, when you are mindful, and when you've developed mindfulness to a high degree, then you get tuned into the flow of awareness. And even though you're still, experiencing impermanence, you're in touch with that subtle, ultra subtle vibration of the deathless awareness that's just beneath the surface of our active mind. So that's another meaning of that. You don't completely die, even though when you've reached that level of a sotapanna or a once returner, then that means you're in touch with that subtle level of awareness, which you're not always fully in, but it's sort of there in the background. Now, coming back to a more relative, you might say, meaning of that, is that, when you're unmindful, you're as if dead already. That means, all of our accidents and many of our deaths from accidents are because we're unmindful. Basically, every accident you've ever been in, whether you cut your finger with a knife, or you stumble and trip over something in your house or outside, or you get in a car crash because you were texting while trying to drive and you didn't see somebody coming in from the right or left and got in an accident and got killed, or unmindful in different ways. Even those are meaning, it's a kind of a death. or it leads to an actual death, premature death. So that's another meaning of the unmindful, or as if dead already. Or you're waiting for an accident to happen. Whenever you're unmindful, then there's always that potential for accidents lurking around the corner. And when you are mindful, you avoid those type of accidents, or you can avoid many of them. Even driving, if you're mindful, you wouldn't be texting or being distracted. If you're really a practitioner, even listening to the radio and other things, normally people probably wouldn't drive distracted like that. Or especially, of course, texting and listening to music, or driving intoxicated, or any other type of activity. So by being mindful, you're always alert and aware and careful. So you avoid even accidents, let alone premature death. Now that's not a guarantee, of course. There's still, because of impermanence, even the mindful can get killed, because they may not, even an arahant could be killed. Like the example of Mahamoggallana, who was an arahant and who had all these psychic powers, but because of an unknown karmic action he did many lifetimes before, like killing the parents, he was murdered, in fact. And of course, even arahants and every enlightened being dies because of old age and death. So, but the main thing that we can take away from this verse, for our regular lives is, avoiding the accidents and unnecessary problems that come from being unmindful. And by developing mindfulness to a higher degree, where especially mindfulness of the body, which is not that difficult to do really, by just being aware and attention to your movements, knowing what you're doing, you gradually tap into the subtler vibrations of awareness that are within the body, as I quite often talk about. So having said that much, I want to open it up and see if any of you have any further questions on this particular Dhammapada verse, or it could be any other question on meditation or the Dhamma. So I don't see anything that has come up in the chats yet, but you can feel free to raise your hand. Okay, here's a question that came up on the chat. The difference between conceit and personality view. Oh, well, that's a good question. Now, the personality view is the first of the 10 fetters. And personality view means the belief that you have a kind of a permanent self, or your I consciousness belongs to you and it's somehow permanent, whether you think it's in your brain or somewhere else, or some people identify it as their soul that's going to go with them even after death. They think this sense of I'm going to be reborn in a heaven somewhere, or in purgatory, or in hell, or whatever your beliefs might be. There's this belief in some kind of a permanent, soul. Now, especially because, of course, of some Christian theologies, there's the idea that God breathed in the soul into the new babies and so on. I mean, I'm not a Christian theologians. I shouldn't talk too much about claiming to have that viewpoint. But anyway, it's a belief that you have this sense of I that's kind of permanent there and will be with you forever in whatever way you might imagine it. But once you attain the first stage of the entering the stream, where you have that first glimpse, true glimpse of no self, where that feeling of I, me, mine, and self-consciousness is transcended, and you have a glimpse of that deathless state, which is a radical sort of change in our dimension. What do they call those dimension? Anyway, when you have a glimpse of that sense of self, being transcended, there's still this awareness, but there's no sense of an I in it. So therefore, now you are convinced that this sense of an I is basically an illusion that's created within the nervous system and in the brain, through ignorance. So that's the personality belief. But you still have the ego consciousness still remains with you, especially in the Sotapanna. It still could be fairly strong, but it wouldn't be to the point of, you still know that it's an illusion, but because of the habits, it still lingers there in the back of the mind. But now conceit is only eliminated in the fourth stage of enlightenment because it's called one of the subtle fetters. Whereas the personality belief is a gross fetter, it's always in our mind. Conceit is the subtle trace of I that's still lingering like a shadow in the back of your consciousness. Even though you know it's an illusion, it's still there because of the habit. So that's called the conceit. The sense of I is called the conceit. Whereas personality view is the belief that this personality belongs to you and is somehow, going to be yours forever. So, this may seem like a subtle difference, and, it probably is, but it's that conceit that is still there, even in a once returner, in a Sotapanna once returner, and even in a never returner, and is only eliminated when the never returner attains the full enlightenment. So that is the difference, basically, within Buddhism when we talk about the personality view and the conceit. So I hope that answered your question. Now, only with continued meditation practice, when you start getting experiences because you can have experiences where the sense of self gets weaker and weaker in your mind. In your ordinary state, okay, so the sense of I and me is very dominant, and things that happen to you, we're always relating to it as I, me, and mine. But when you gain more concentration, and it doesn't even have to be a jhana, but the more concentration and mindfulness you have, and as you stop reacting to various stimulations, like stop itching every scratch or sensation that comes to you, or stop always trying to when desire and aversion basically subside, then you begin to gradually experience these kind of changes in the consciousness, subtle changes in consciousness. And especially when the awareness kind of expands more. That's why in the meditation, in guided meditations, when I talk about try to feel the outline of the body. So when you can kind of feel that outline of the body in the mind's eye, and you can feel subtle sensations, then it is said that your consciousness has kind of expanded. Before it's very narrow. You narrow it down on a certain object or on a certain part of your body or a sensation or a sound and think. That keeps our consciousness very contracted. But in meditation, you let go of that reaction to things and awareness naturally, kind of expands. And so the sense of self gets weaker in that when you experience that expanded awareness. And, that's not that difficult, that comes to people sometimes. When the mind gets quite peaceful and you develop some degree of concentration, you can experience these subtle changes. And those are insights, and you should recognize them as such and know how that occurs and know how that or doesn't occur. Whenever our mind is focused and active in doing things, then of course, we're aware of ourself doing these things, then the consciousness becomes very contracted. So anyway, that's how you can, directly, experience these differences. Somebody's raising a bare hand, not the golden hand. Okay, Karen, go ahead, ask your question.
I was gonna add to your explanation. It reminded me of a Buddhist quote that nothing is to be clung to I, me, or mine. Is that one of his big quote, major quotes that he had out there?
Yes.
It reminded me when you were talking about all that. It reminded me of that quote.
Yeah, the five aggregates, because the personality of view is based on the five aggregates. That means we take this body as myself. We're always saying, this is my body, this is my body. We're saying, this is my feelings. I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling happy. I don't like this, I like that. And then I'm going to do this, volitional activities. And clinging to the perceptions, clinging to, when you like and dislike objects, you're clinging to those perceptions that trigger off those likes and dislikes. Like you're looking at a painting, oh, such a beautiful painting, okay, you're identifying with that, or, some person you don't like, aversion. So the five aggregates are those, and the Buddha said over and over, regard these five aggregates as this is not me, this is not mine, this is not myself, because these are the three ways that we are relating to these five aggregates. And that's why the five aggregates is one of the, is the primary focus of Vipassana meditation, especially Vipassana meditation, and the four foundations of mindfulness. Who are there? Feel free to ask any more questions. Anybody out there? Could be any other question that you might have been thinking about. But if anybody was trying to ask a question, you have to unmute yourself. Okay, I guess if nobody has
Bhante, there
it
is a question in the chat.
in the chat. Okay. Which of the five aggregates do thoughts fall under? Normally they are part of the Sankara Khanda, the aggregate of volitional formations, which include, desires and thoughts and emotions, basically most of the mental activity, except for feeling and perception, which have their own category, the volitional formations, would be all thoughts are normally part of volitional formations. Because all of our thoughts precede all of our actions. So any action that you do, even to turn your head, is followed by a desire to do that. A thought to do that. It may not be a full-blown thought, but still it's in an unconscious level. It's these impulses, the impulses that we have to want to, wiggle our finger or, blink even, you could say almost. So a lot of them are kind of unconscious too. How does a non-returner become an arhat if they never come back to the earth? Well, it is said they attain arhatship from these pure abodes where they're reborn. Because, a never-returner has eliminated totally greed and hatred. That's one of the hallmarks of, these stages, 4 stages of enlightenment. A once-returner reduces greed and hatred, let's say by, 80 or maybe 90%. Still has a little bit, but then the never-returner then eliminates the rest of it. But they still have this subtle conceit that I mentioned from the first question, and also subtle ignorance and desire to be reborn in heavenly realms and so on. So I don't know, it is hard to understand, but they eliminate that last trace of greed and hatred by being in these, what are called Suddhavasa, pure abodes. Usually it's for a very long period of time, actually. And they attain arhatship from here. Now, it's very difficult for us who, don't have that kind of an experience to, understand that. But, people don't have to attain anagami. A lot of people attain arhatship straight away, even from being a sotapanna or a once-returner. And usually those people that are born in pure abodes, they would have mastered the jhanas also. So if you, usually if you attain, the paths and fruits without, developing the formless jhanas, then you may or may not, be born as a never-returner. But again, these are very technical kind of states, and there's a lot of differences of opinion about them. But I think most people don't have to worry too much about that. Okay. Do we have eye consciousness in dream state? In waking state, we practice mindfulness. If we have eye consciousness in dream state, how do we practice mindfulness? Well, in the dream state, of course, there probably is a subtle sense of I, because, you see that you're doing things in dreams. You might be doing a lot of different things in dreams, even be like in a nightmare, you might, be frightened, or you might be having, erotic dreams, or you might be having just, dreams are so profound and different. But, and there's a kind of a sense of self. It's not active though, it's in a kind of a sleep state. So, you can't really probably practice because they're unconscious, and usually you don't have control over dreams, although there's a special kind of meditation practices done by Tibetan Buddhists and maybe yogis called dream yoga, which is a state in which or lucid dreaming, in which they can actually be conscious of a dream and then gain control of that dream and change it. But that usually requires a very high degree of mental sort of training to do that sort of thing. The average person probably is not able to do that. So we do that in our waking life through our practice of the Dhamma, by practicing the 4 foundations of mindfulness. And if we're able to develop that awareness in the daily life, then that would change probably the quality of our dreams as well. I mean, even people that have eye consciousness, they still practice mindfulness, really. I mean, you practice ordinary mindfulness still with eye consciousness. That's not a purified state of mindfulness, but it's still the practice of mindfulness. So there's many different levels until we attain the state of a jhana. Then your mindfulness gets boosted up to a higher level, and where the sense of self is weaker and weaker. But until you have that level of concentration develop to the state of where the hindrances are suppressed, then the eye consciousness is still going to be there, but you are awakening it. In the practice of mindfulness, we try not to itch the scratch, or we try not to react to things. But it requires effort to do that. But by doing that, you are denying the ego its desire. Let's say, like if you have a desire comes into your mind, but you say, no, I'm not going to do that now. So you're kind of denying the self to indulge in whatever desire it may have. Like even to get up in your meditation. Maybe you're having a lot of pain in your meditation. Or just other boredom. And you see the thought to get up, say, no, I'm going to continue sitting. You don't give in to the various desires that the ego comes up with, or even aversions. And you delay the reaction to it. So as you do that, you little by little, you also weaken the power of the self, of the eye consciousness. Okay. This next question, is that right, that meditation on emptiness is to let go of the personality view and conceit? Yes, because emptiness would be beyond that, although it would still be there if you or still have not. You can meditate on emptiness. It doesn't mean you're going to be in emptiness, but you can. As we went over the sutta, the lesser discourse on emptiness, a few weeks ago, and when you develop a high level of awareness, you stop reacting to the various sensory impressions, and in that way, you are letting go of the personality view and conceit, as I just was discussing. By not giving in to your thoughts and desires, or chasing the sounds, invisible objects, body sensations, and identifying with them as you're developing this idea that this is not me, not mine, not myself, through the 5 aggregates. This is how you gradually are letting go of this, and the awareness starts to expand, and that's when you start to experience emptiness. Like the empty house simile, when you can develop that awareness of the outline of the body, and then within that, you're all these sensations, but there's no reactions. You're not reacting. So it's like there's an empty house. This body is like an empty house. There's things knocking on your ears. Hey, listen to me. Or in your eye, look at me, smell me. But you're not allowing your mind to get caught up in those sensory reactions. So it's like the house is kind of hollow. The hollowness in the awareness develops. And that is the descent into emptiness. But it only comes when you stop reacting and conceiving the various sense impressions that are coming through your senses. And even the body, developing the idea that this body is just an empty house. And not reacting, even like when you're not reacting to pains and other distractions. Because otherwise, normally the mind is full of self. Now you're emptying it of self. And emptying it of the thoughts and the perceptions that are creating the self and recreating the self. Now this is what we study in Vipassana meditation. This is, if you're practicing Vipassana, this is what you study. If you're practicing, let's say, the Buddha's teaching on Vipassana, the Buddha's teaching of 4 foundations of mindfulness. Because that's where the Buddha taught these, about the 5 aggregates, was in the 4 foundations of mindfulness. Now in the modern teachings of mindfulness, just saying be mindful of this, be mindful of that, that's a very superficial practice of mindfulness. But if you're practicing the 4 foundations of mindfulness and following the Buddha's instructions, which we should if we consider ourselves a follower of the Dhamma, but anyway, a lot of people, will be debating that and so on. But so anyway, yes. First, you have to let go of the personality belief in the conceit, and then you will start to experience the emptiness. It's not that you practice emptiness and then you overcome the personality and conceit. No, you have to gradually, let go of that, because that's how you experience the emptiness. Because it's the personality view and conceit that fills up our entire consciousness. Or even, so even the state of concentration, when you're developing concentration and you're getting close to developing, access concentration at first jhana, you also start to experience these kind of weakenings of the ego and the other reactions of the mind. Okay. How do you start daily practice of the methods talked about in Sabbasava Sutta? Seeing, restraining, using, abandoning. Well, in daily life, in meditation, you restrain yourself from scratching an itch or moving the body when you got pain, or restraining, indulging in your anger or confusion or desire. So you restrain the mind. You have to kind of forcibly restrain it. And practicing precepts is the way that you restrain yourself, by remembering, oh yes, I shouldn't tell a lie or talk about other people behind their backs and this and that. You got to remember these things, and then you have to, when the urge to do them come up, you have to restrain yourself. But you have to be mindful first. You can't restrain yourself without being mindful. And like avoiding, don't go to places that will trigger off your various defilements, So if you have a craving for food, don't go, down streets where there are all these smells of restaurants and pastries and are going to attract your mind. Or if you have, don't go down the street with a lot of bars, or don't go by marijuana dispensaries, or whatever. Anyway, you avoid negative people. You actively avoid going to places that are going to tempt you if you know you still have those weaknesses and temptations. You have to avoid going there until you get to a point where it's not going to trigger off those things. And so, but how do you start daily practice of the methods? That's, first, is the practicing the foundations of mindfulness, and being mindful is the first one. And then, applying those various methods. Okay, friends, so I think that's all the questions there in the chat box. I think that may be enough for this evening's discussion. So let's take a few minutes and get ready to do some breathing and stretching before sitting down for our meditation practice. Okay? We'll see you back in a few minutes. Okay, friends, so start to stand straight, relax your arms at the side. Just gently close your eyes. Start to feel your feet pressing the floor. Feel the height and weight of the body pressing the feet to the floor. Feel your hands and fingers hanging at the sides. Feel the clothing touching the skin of your chest, shoulders, arms. Feel your head balanced on top of the neck. Keep your chin level with the floor. Just feel your eyes in the socket. Feel your eyelids stretched over the eyeball. That point on the eyes, try to feel the outline of the standing body, sense of the head on top, the arms hanging at the sides, clothing touching the skin, feet pressing the floor. You can kind of feel at least a couple or all of those places in the space of a few seconds. It's already sort of expanding your awareness. Then begin some deep, slow breathing. Take about 3 seconds to expand your abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest. Hold the air in the lungs for 2 or 3 seconds. Feel the last bit of air go out on the out breath. In the next in breath, take several more deep, slow breaths like that, developing this mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. Now we're going to combine this breathing with these movements. So in the next in breath, raise the arms over the head, interlock the fingers, straighten your arms, stretch the head back, look up at the back of your hand, stretch upwards, and release your fingers, the out breath, arms back to the sides. Feel the last bit of air go out of the lungs. Use the in-breath to help lift up the second time. Stretch up, bend back a little through the arch of the spine. Release the fingers, out breath. Third time, we're going to hold the upward stretch longer. Bend back a little more. Out breath. Close the eyes. Focused inside. Try to feel the outline of the body. Can't feel that, at least feel your hands and fingers or feet pressing the floor. Just any other part of the body you can easily feel the increased sensation. Just keep letting go of your thoughts. The thoughts come and go in the back of the mind. Just keep sensations of the body in the front of the awareness. Just turn on the video camera of awareness. Just watch your body standing there, the mind's eye, the eyes closed. Okay, on the next in-breath, lift up on the toes, raise the arms over the head, facing the palms toward each other, about 6 inches apart, and stretch up. Out breath, come back down. Use the in-breath to help lift up the body. Out. Once more, in. Out. Feeling the body, the increased sensations. Just remember standing, standing, standing. Just repeating those words, standing to yourself, will create perception, outline of the body. Next, we'll do side bending on the in-breath, raise both arms up. And keep your fingers and arms straight, close to the head. On the out-breath, bend over the right side as far as you comfortably can. Keep the arms parallel to each other, like railroad track. Stretch inside. In-breath, lift up. The other side, out breath. In breath. Keep alternating sides, breathing out breath. In. Out. In. Once more to each side, out. The out breath, lower the arms. Feel the sensation, fingers. The increased sensation, tingling sensation, pulsation, hands and fingers. Feel that it's already a deep state of awareness. Turned on the movie camera awareness. Standing, standing, standing. Next we'll do knee bending or the squatting. On the in-breath, you lift up on the toes, raise the arms up front for balance. On the out-breath, bend the knees and lower the body down, balancing on the balls of the feet. And come down into the squatting position. And take a deep breath, push up. And the muscles of the legs pushing the body up. Again, out-breath. In. Out. Once more, out-breath. In.
Oh my goodness, they lost the power.
Close the eyes.
No, nothing. It's okay. So,
Keep feeling the body, touching the outer skin, subtle sensations under the skin, pulsation, aches or pain. We're standing. We can now spread the legs and feet apart. Widen the better. Pull the arms out to the side, do twisting, lateral twisting of the spinal column. Breathe in. The out breath, twist to the right. Keep your eyes focused on the hand, going back. In the breath, back to the front. Let your feet turn with the body and twist to the other side, out breath. In the breath. To the right, out breath. Once more to each side. Relax. Feel each foot pressing the floor. Hands hanging sides. Clothing touching the skin. We'll do the forward and backward bending, keeping the legs spread apart. Hands touching the front of your legs. Breathe in. And out breath, bend forward, let your hands come to the kneecaps. Legs straight, the arms straight, flatten the spine. The head lifted up, looking out straight ahead. In breath, lift up. Move the hands under the buttocks for support. Let your head go back. On the out breath, gently bend back. Keep your eyes open. With the arch of the spine. In breath, lift up. And second time, bend forward. The hands come below the knees. Still keep your head looking out straight ahead. Feel the extra stretch in the back of the legs. In breath up. In the back bend, be careful. In third time, let the hands come down as far as you can toward the ankles or feet, and then hold on to legs or ankles longer. Let the little bones in the lower spine stretch out. And stretching the hamstring muscle. In breath, lift up. Once more, the back bends, be careful. Out breath. In. On the out breath, relax the shoulders and arms. Close the eyes, feel the outline. The body exactly as it is. Legs spread apart, each foot pressing the floor. Hands touching the sides, clothing touching the skin. Head balanced on top. Feel the outline of the body. And the mind's eye, the movie camera of the mind, of awareness. Expanded awareness of the outline of the body. Feel the empty house. You know, bring the feet together. One last exercise, turning the head from right to left. From the in-breath, turn the head to the right. You have stiff legs, be careful. Look over the right shoulder. The out-breath, turn the head over back to the left, to look over the left shoulder. In-breath, back to the right. Concentrate into the neck vertebra. Out-breath left. In-breath right. Let the head stop in the center, feel the whole body vibrating, pulsating with activated life force. Feel as though you are standing on a vibrating machine, feeling those vibrations from the soles of your feet up through the body to the top of the head. The movie camera of awareness on, filming the standing body. Okay. Let's mindfully come back to our seats, ready for sitting. Try to sit straight. Establish the natural inward curve of the lower spine. Gently close your eyes. Feel the head balanced on top. Just try to feel the outline of the sitting body in the mind's eye. Feel that sense of the head on top, the arms at the sides, hands touching together, clothes touching the skin. Feel the way the knees are bent and the feet tucked underneath. Feel where the feet press the floor. Just all those different places make up the outline of the sitting body. And begin some deep, slow breathing to oxygenate the sitting body. After breathing in, hold the air in the lungs. 2 seconds, and slowly breathe out, cultivating this mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Now we're going to try counting our breaths from 1 to 10. Develop a more continuous concentration on the breathing. I'll do the counting for you. Just try to follow that with your breathing and concentration. So with the next expanding in breath, mentally count to 1. Hold the breath for 1 or 2 seconds. With the contracting out breath, also count to 1. Feel the last bit of air go out of the lungs. Next in breath, 2. Out breath, 2. In 3. Out 3. In 4. Out 4. in 5, out 5, in 6, out 6, in 7, out 7, in 8, out 8, in 9, out 9, in 10, out 10. Now discontinue the counting, let your breathing return to its uncontrolled, shorter, irregular rhythm. And continue to feel it, to observe it, and keep your attention focused in the middle of the sitting body. Feel the residual expanding and contracting sensation. Especially try to feel where the clothing rubs against the skin of the abdomen, stomach, rib cage, or chest as it expands and contracts, producing friction with the skin, sensation. Just knowing when the breath is coming in and knowing when the breath is going out. You know it by feeling. It would be like a scientist looking down through a microscope to observe an experiment. To observe the life process of breathing. Tuning into the 4 phases of each breath cycle. The expanding in breath and the brief pause. The contracting out breath and the brief pause. Just over and over and over again. In sitting. Out, out, sitting. You can use those mental reminders to help stay focused, connected to the ongoing, continuous, present moment of the body. This breathing body is the natural connection to the present moment. Mindfulness is to remember. In sitting, out, sitting, breath by breath, moment by moment, developing mindfulness and concentration. Especially be alert to the pauses between the breath. During those pauses, feel the outline of the sitting body. Feel the other sensations on the body. This breathing is operating, occurring within the larger body. In sitting, out, sitting. If you still have lots of thoughts, you can count your breaths again from 1 to 10 in conjunction with the breathing. It helps you to stay focused and remembering. Be alert for thoughts sneaking up into the mind. Keep coming back to the breathing. Try to turn up the power of the mental microscope. Notice more and subtler sensations, details of the breathing process, or other sensations coming and going on the body. Try to notice how each breath is different, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. Sometimes you feel it more in the abdomen area, sometimes you feel it more in the rib cage or upper chest. It's always changing. If you have difficulty feeling the breathing, come back and do some more deep, slow breathing to feel it more clearly. If you know what the 5 aggregates are, just try to identify the aggregates as they catch your attention. Material vibrations, body sensation. If any of them are pleasant or painful, it's just feeling. If you identify anything with the mind, that's a perception. Even the feeling of the body is a perception. The idea of a body is a perception. If you think about it, it's a volitional activity, rather thought. If you're identifying it as your body, that's the ego consciousness. in, sitting, out, out, sitting. From time to time, take a few deep, slow breaths. Stay well centered, grounded in the breathing body. Help stay awake, moment by moment, breath by breath. Feeling more and more sensation, gradually opening up to the flow of impermanence. Breathing is always there in the center. But all around it, other sensations in the body are coming and going. In and through the breathing awareness, sensations on your head, arms, legs, feet. Just allow the awareness to expand and notice more and more sensations. The more sensations you can notice, the less time for your mind to get caught on any particular one, carried away in thought. Sort of hold that outline of the sitting body in the mind's eye. Be aware of the stream of subtle thoughts moving through the back of the mind. Any urges to move. There's still that subtle sense of I in the back of your mind. That's the conceit of I am. Just keep turning up the power of the mental microscope. Especially be alert to how quickly certain sensations, sounds, and thoughts arise and vanish. Try to tune into that constant flow of arising and vanishing sensations, sounds, thoughts. If you can, just try to become like an empty house with nobody at home to answer the call. There's a sensitive microphone in the house that knows. That's the awareness. There's nobody that owns that awareness. In sitting, out, out, sitting, Keep coming back to the ever-present, present moment awareness. It's understanding that all these five aggregates of this is not me, this is not mine, this is not myself. These are just conditioned phenomena created by past karma. Now let's spend the last few minutes of the meditation by shifting our attention to sending out thoughts of friendliness, kindness, best wishes to our own body and mind, and sending that out to all other beings. Just keep watching your body sitting there, breathing. Just look upon your body with the eye of kindness, compassion, whatever difficulties you might be having in life, or any good things that are happening to you. And take a few more deep, slow breaths. And after breathing in, try to hold the air in your lungs as long as you comfortably can. Try to feel the oxygenated blood cruising through the system to all the cells of the body, charging all the cells of the body, healing life force energy. On the out breath, you feel the body and mind relaxing into the present moment. Just take several more breaths like that. This is sending metta to your own body and mind. Doing deep, slow breathing is really sending metta, kindness, to your own body and mind. Doing something good for your body, doing something good for your mind. The body getting fresh oxygenated blood, the mind staying focused and concentrated in the present moment. Just cultivating this train of thought to yourself. May I be well, peaceful and wise. May I be free from greed, hatred, fear, and ignorance, and the sufferings brought about by such unskillful thought, speech, and actions. May I have the patience, strength, mindfulness, and wisdom to meet and overcome all difficulties in life. May I be able to continue deepening my understanding of the Dhamma and the practice of meditation to help free the mind from the subtle fetters and suffering. May I be well, peaceful, and wise. And keep up with the breathing with each out breath. If you can feel your heartbeat with each out breath or heartbeat, just imagine these same metta thoughts of kindness, best wishes going outward across your neighborhoods, through the towns and cities, across the fields, mountains and valleys. These waves of metta vibrations with each out breath and heartbeat. These peaceful, kind vibrations. Just imagining it going through the bodies and minds of all the beings. With each heartbeat or out breath, just imagine these waves of metta going further and further outward across the whole state, the whole country, across the oceans to eventually surround the whole earth. These thought vibrations of kindness, friendliness, best wishes. May all living beings be well, happy and peaceful, free from greed, hatred, fear, and ignorance, free from self-created sufferings of body and mind due to their negative thoughts, speech, and actions. May all beings have the patience, strength, mindfulness, and wisdom to meet and overcome all difficulties in life. May all beings have the opportunity to hear the teachings of the Dhamma, to learn and practice meditation, to help free their minds from confusion and self-created suffering. May all beings be able to live peacefully and harmoniously together, understanding the ultimate interconnectedness and interdependence of all things. May all beings be well, peaceful, and wise. May all beings be well, peaceful, and wise. Just like a mantra reverberating throughout space. Well, peaceful, and wise. And I invite you to join in chanting the word sadhu 3 times slowly. We do that chanting on a long out breath. Try to feel those vibrations in the body and mind. And take a deep breath. Breathe. Breathe. Now place your hands at the edge of your knees. Take one more deep breath. On the in-breath, stretch your head back. Pull the hands on the knees to arch your spine. Look up at the ceiling. Breathe in, lift the head up, and on the out breath, press the chin to the top of the chest to stretch the neck vertebrae. And lift the chin up level on an in-breath. Relax on the out breath. Put a smile on your face. Okay, friends. So this brings our evening Dhamma discussion and meditation to an end. But as I always say, mindfulness should never end. And we help remind ourselves doing the M&Ms every hour throughout the day to remember to let go of that mad rush to the future or whatever you're brooding over. Take a few deep breaths, bring the mind back to the body. Just remember breathing, standing, breathing, sitting. Okay, think you can do that?
Yes, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you, everyone. Everyone have a
Thank you
good
so much,
night.
Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Very welcome.
Many blessings.
Remember, mindfulness today keeps dukkha away. And Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya.
Buddhaya.
See you next week.
Good night,
Next
Bhante.
week.
Be well, be safe, be peaceful, be wise.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Good
Thank you.
night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.